Hi, this is Courtney Thompson with Keller Williams Hometown Partners Blick Homes, and I'm joined with
Diane Blick.
So we're here today because we are doing our Front Porch series. Welcome to our Front Porch.
Yeah.
But this time we're actually talking about our success stories. We're doing a mini series of success stories after talking about all the hurdles of real estate. We want to tell you the end bit of it, the exciting, the joyful part that we love, the reason we keep going through some of these hard parts, or our buyers and sellers go through these hard parts. And today we're talking about one of Diane's clients that she jumped through hoops for, she took care of, she did all the hard work that she always does for all of her clients. So Diane, this specific story warmed your heart. Can you give us a little background on it?
Yeah, well, this one to me is about taking care of seniors. As many know, I hold an SRES designation, which is Senior Real Estate Specialist designation, extra training and certification in that area. And one of the things that I absolutely love doing, and I know you do too, you really enjoy taking care of people who are downsizing or transitioning. So the background was that it was originally an investment property, and I was hired to sell the property. However, this property came with very long-term clients or tenants who've been in that property for a very long time, and they were not young. The seller's goal, as we discussed and agreed what to do about this property, was definitely needed to sell at fair market value, but to not displace the tenants if any way possible. So we were in a situation where the rents had been low for a very long time, and there was deferred maintenance on the property. So it was a duplex, and it had some challenges.
Yeah, so when you're looking at a situation, one comment that I had was, it sounded like your seller came from the same place you do, which is genuine care for people and for seniors. But this sounds like a difficult situation because you're managing a lot of people's interests, a lot of people's wants and needs. So what options really did you have?
Yes. Well, fortunately, I had a really solid trust relationship with the seller, and they hired me to function as a transaction broker, meaning that I needed to remain fair, honest, and neutral in the middle of the transaction. And they asked me to make it available off market, to find a purchaser who would be open to the idea of keeping the tenants in the property, or to work with the current tenants because they had expressed interest in potentially buying. So the first thing that I needed to do was understand and get together with the tenant to understand what their options were for purchasing.
Right.
So we walked through all of the normal steps that you would with a buyer, because they were a buyer, they just happened to be residing there, to understand what they could do, and they very, very strongly wanted to purchase. So,
and so you went through that whole process, and the result was?
Well, the result was that while the buyer actually qualified to buy, it was on a VA loan, and because they have been tenants for so long, and this happens a lot of times, we see this where tenants, they're used to calling the landlord to fix or repair the heating and air conditioning, the roof, the leaky plumbing, and all of those things. They may not have built up assets to cover things like the deductible on a roof, on homeowners insurance. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we had deferred maintenance on this property.
Right.
And so while it was at fair market value for the condition that it was going to require some finances. So I literally sat down at the kitchen table with the tenants, went through not just today that they could qualify for a VA loan, but what would happen if during this spring we had a hailstorm.
Oh, you mean like the ones we've had, the windstorms we've had?
Yeah, or a tree falls on the house, and now because it's a duplex and now you own both sides, now you need not only $2,500 but possibly $5,000, maybe even $10,000 in assets to pay up front on your deductible to replace the roof, to help them understand that they would be replacing the aging heating and air conditioning units. And as we went through some of these things, the desire to purchase, it became, there was an understanding of what was realistic, that we kind of stepped through both the math and the responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah, so we had to step through all of that. And it was really truly just a heart-to-heart talk with this.
And you do that a lot. You do real talks with people so that they get a real picture of what they're able and want to do.
I do. I think it's really important to be just really honest, cut to the chase, be transparent, and not to tell people what to do, but what we know are the questions to ask and the issues to put literally on the kitchen table, so that, or on our conference room table, so that buyers or sellers can understand the reality of
and you did that
financial.
You did that by digging deep with questions.
Yes.
and actually listening to this buyer and listening to what their life looked like, and showing them what it would be in 5 years.
Yes. So once we ruled that out, then I informed the seller that this tenant would not be purchasing, and the next step was for me to get on the telephone. I worked the phone. I reached out to a really broad network. I called agents, I called bankers, I called property management companies, and I finally resorted to, and the goal was, again, fair market value, but to find someone who was willing to, even with a marginal rent increase, keep these tenants in place, understanding deferred maintenance. And so then I started calling all of the investors in the neighborhood who own properties within the neighborhood, looking for someone who it might be a convenience factor,
right,
and a willingness to invest. And I don't know, fairy dust out into the universe, prayers were answered, and we found an investor willing to do all of the above and put forward an offer.
So you took care of the seller.
I did.
You took care of the tenant.
I did.
You took care of the investor buyer.
Yes, I did.
All on a property that needed maintenance.
Yes.
Had current tenants.
Yeah.
And probably had a lot of emotional stuff, especially from a tenant's point of view, as far as concern, a little anxiety, and you made sure it was all taken care of.
Yeah, and it felt really good to get to the closing table on that one, and to, once we actually had an offer that was accepted and we were moving forward to close, it was very fast, like a 15-day close, because the investor had a long-standing relationship with his bank who could move very quickly. And the relief that I was able to appreciate on the tenants' faces, letting them know that they had a roof over their head for the foreseeable future, and got them together with the new buyer to put a lease in place for them going forward. It was very gratifying and definitely worth all the work and care that went into that.
So you took 15 days from the time you got to this contract to closing, but you did much more work before that contract, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
So
months.
So
there were this was teed up for several months. Actually active working on it probably 2.5 months.
So there's a lot of work in the background. Yes, it's exciting that it closed in 15 days, but what's more exciting is the results, right? The resolution you gave everybody. So in summary of what I hear from this is that you worked with care and concern, and you met the seller goals and kept the tenants with a roof over their head at a reasonable rent that they could still afford.
Yes.
So what a amazing end to this story, and what a great way to take care of your clients. And that's what we do here. Our commitment to our clients, customers, and community is to serve your real estate needs with skill and integrity and care.
Yeah, and so we achieve this with ongoing agent education, training, and teaching our buyers and sellers to be the savviest in the marketplace so that they're prepared and empowered to achieve their goals.
Thanks so much for coming to our front porch. Come back anytime.
Have a great day. Bye.